All right, YouTube. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast talking Auburn football. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And my goodness, like the video, comment, and subscribe. Down in Deep South, college football is king. And on the plains of Auburn, the battle cry is War Eagle. A lot of stuff to unpack here tonight. You have Carnell Williams, former Auburn great, had a tenure in the NFL, started to coach a little bit, and now, dream come true, he will be the interim Auburn football coach until Auburn finds their head coach. Now, who's to say he wouldn't be the head coach? I just don't think he will, but even still, this is a great thing for the Auburn Tigers. Now, some of us, we talked about Bryan Harsin's tenure, and it was just a lot of unfortunate stuff that happened. You talk about a guy that went 6-2, was in the conversation for, probably pushing the envelope to make some noise in the SEC West. And then things started to collapse. He had some injuries down the stretch and lost the last few games of that season. Then had the embarrassing loss. I'll say it's embarrassing. The loss to Houston in the, of all places, the Birmingham Bowl. If you're going to lose to Houston, you need to lose to them like out of state. You don't need to lose to them in Birmingham like 15, 20, 25 minutes, an hour away from Tuscaloosa to where players can pull up on you like Javion Cohen did and embarrass you there. And then to even make matters worse, the embarrassment to his family, to say that he was doing things that was, very, just very abysmal from a family man standpoint, saying he was, possibly doing some infidelities with his. I mean, it was just all the way terrible the way this thing happened with Bryan Harsin. I mean, you talk about probably in a very short period of time, the worst possible case scenario for a coach at Auburn. Now, am I being benevolent to Bryan Harsin? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think he, in that run, when Auburn had a chance to win out, which they did, they had opportunities in every single game they played leading to the 2021 season, had every chance to win out and actually prove that he could be a Power 5 football coach. He didn't do it. He didn't do it. Outside of all of the crazy stuff that happened after the season ended, there were no mitigating circumstances for him that gave him a chance. Okay, you beat Alabama. I guarantee you. You beat Alabama, even though Alabama, greatest football team right now in college football history, greatest college football coach. You figure out a way to beat them. And we're probably not even having these aggravating conversations about Bryan Harsin. But you're up. You literally shut out Alabama for the most part, the most of that game, and you still lose it. I mean, there's nothing that can help you out. And it's unfortunate. All right, so let's look at the college football rankings. Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn here for the podcast, Auburn Football Sports Talk. Look, now, the college, if the college football playoff were to start today, here's what it will look like. You got Tennessee, my goodness. Tennessee at number 1. Tennessee at number 1. Ohio State, 8-0. Can y'all believe this, though? We're already 8 games into the season, And we already have, I mean, the season is well past the midway point. You got Ohio State at 8-0. You got Georgia at 8-0. Now, let me ask you this. Some of you fans out there, why do you think Georgia is number 3 at 8-0? They've had some pretty good wins over some pretty good teams. Why are they 8-0? I'll tell you why. In my opinion, I'm still not sold on the quarterback. I'm not sold on their quarterback's ability to take them to the next level. As a matter of fact, I think Tennessee, just as a bold prediction, I think Tennessee comes into Athens, Georgia, and gets a sizable win. You know what? I think they win by 10 points at least. Tennessee is a good football team. They got a good quarterback. They got some good skill players. They got some great players on defense. So this could be a really scary game for the people in Athens. And Clemson, of course, they are what they are. We'll figure out where they will land. And then you have the bottom feeders of the top 6 with Michigan and Alabama. Alabama, for the first time in a long time, doesn't make the cut for the college football playoff ranking, initial ranking. All right, so look, we'll even talk about the AP top 25. You got Georgia at number 1 when they're actually number 3 in the poll that actually matters. You have Tennessee that is number 2 in the AP top 25 poll, and then you have a tie. Actually, you have a tie between Tennessee and Ohio State. Who do I think is the best team out of all of them? Tennessee. I'm boldly saying it. Tennessee should have blistered Alabama. I think coaching decisions that will probably not happen now was the reason that game was as close as it was. But hey, now that you have a solid Tennessee team that actually, blistered Kentucky and showed the nation why they should be the number 1 team, that's where we're at right now. So let's talk about Auburn. And even though Auburn is a team that, has lost their head football coach, didn't have a athletic director at the time of the firing, and I'll give Auburn a little kudos. I mean, you don't want to put a brand new athletic director in a position to where he has to make the decision to fire somebody as soon as he enters campus. So we got a lot of interconnectivity here. To where you have the Auburn athletic director, who will be the former athletic director of the team that he will play this week. And we're gonna tap into this in just a second. Now, Alan Green was the former athletic director, and it would seem like everything was going pretty good. Got a good basketball team, got a good baseball team, the women's college basketball team on the up and up. But Alan Green decides to step down. So after that, John Cohen is named the athletic director of Auburn. Where did John Cohen come from? John Cohen comes from Mississippi State. Got a wealth of experience in college athletics, particularly in the Southeastern Conference. As a matter of fact, he was a former baseball coach at Mississippi State. As a matter of fact, Mississippi State has produced recently in a real Nick Saban fashion, how he produces coaches. Mississippi State has produced some of the best athletic directors in the country. He's a well-respected leader in intercollegiate athletics. Cohen serves on the prestigious 10-member NCAA 1 baseball committee as part of a 4-year term that began on September 9. Auburn has a leader. Now, I'm not saying that Allen Green wasn't a leader, but when you have a guy that is a leader in the SEC that understands the recruiting process, that understands what it takes to build a good program, because if you think about it, why would you leave Mississippi State, who is starting to, really do some good things football-wise? Football is king. Football is where you make your money. Why would you leave there? What do you see in Auburn that makes sense to where you can come here? Well, number one, the possibility of NIL dollars, and also pushing the envelope with recruiting. There's been a lot of talk that the previous coaching staff was a little lazy with recruiting, showing up late, not showing up at all of these different things. And, that leads to prospects having doubt as to whether they want to even come to Auburn in the first place. So now, let's get back on subject. Auburn still has a football game, even though with all this political stuff that's going on. Auburn still's got a football game this weekend under the lights of Jordan-Hare Stadium this weekend against Mississippi State. Mississippi State obviously has, from what ESPN says, has about an 80% chance to win, which I don't disagree. I think that will be kind of catalyzed, and probably, we can put a dent in that with the energy that you take away from all of the firing talk, with all of that stuff has to have a role in these college football players. It's kind of similar to where you're a child, you got children, you're a married couple, and every week they're looking at the prospect of their parents getting divorced. Same way with Brian Harsin. That takes energy away. I don't care what you say. If you don't know if your coach is going to be here from week in, week out, that has to play a toll in what you got going on. All that being said, I think Mississippi State is a good football team. I think they're well coached. I think Carnell Williams will do everything he can as an interim coach to make sure that Auburn is prepared to play this game. With that being said, I can't be irresponsible and be a homer and pick Auburn to win this game. I got Mississippi State 28-24. There could be some other circumstances that makes this happen differently, but we got to do what we got to do and move forward and get to a point where Auburn has a solid football coach. And, I'm not saying that Carnell Williams is not a solid football coach. Hell, who's to say that he might not be the coach? But I don't think he will. But 28-24 is my pick for Auburn. A lot of big games happening this week that will shake up the college football playoff. Like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speak Sports Auburn. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.